Hello and welcome to That's a Wrap, a roundup of movie news from the past week. I'm Joe Kohle. Here's what we're working on for you today. I will be joined by reporter and host for Screen Rant, Liam Crowley. We will discuss the new TV spot for the Odyssey featuring Travis Scott that sparked a lot of reaction across film Twitter after it aired during Fox's Sunday broadcast of the AFC Championship game. I will also be joined by senior host at Collider, Perri Nemiroff. We will be talking about nominations for the BAFTA Film Awards and the Writers Guild Awards and discuss what they could mean for the Oscars. Perri will also share some of her favorite films that she saw at the Sundance Film Festival. And we will wrap things up with what to watch. This week we are highlighting the new film The Wrecking Crew, which is available to stream on Amazon Prime Video. We will have red carpet moments and interviews from the film's New York premiere featuring Jason Momoa, Jacob Batalon, and more. All right, let's now bring in reporter and host at Screen Rant, Liam Crowley. Liam, thank you for joining us today.
Joe, thanks for having me on. We've been talking about doing this for a while now.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally were able to make it work. I'm a big fan of everything you do at Screen Rant, so I really appreciate you coming on this show. It means a lot. You're our first in-person guest, so yeah, I really appreciate it. But let's begin today with a story about Odysseus, told by Travis Scott. A new TV spot for the Odyssey aired on Sunday during the AFC Championship game. There was one aspect of the trailer that got everybody talking. Rapper Travis Scott, who is a part of the Christopher Nolan film's star-studded cast. Prior to the TV spot airing, it was not known that Scott would have a role in the film. Clips of his appearance in the trailer went viral on social media. Many of the clips were then quickly removed on platforms like X after they were seemingly flagged by the film's distributor, Universal Pictures, as the trailer has not been officially released online. Liam, what do you make of Travis Scott's casting in this film, the new TV spot, and how people reacted to it?
I mean, I get those goosebumps every time. It's a cheap pop, but no, I'm buzzing about this. I was grinning ear to ear as you were reading this for so many different reasons. Though the thing I want to bring up first is actually flagging the copyrighted trailer. No studio, no film is putting this much scrutiny on a project like Nolan with the Odyssey. When the first teaser trailer, the prologue, premiered in theaters, I believe it was like a year ago. It was in the summer. You couldn't watch it online. All the bootleg versions were taken down. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
You know, it's so easy to distribute stuff in a bootleg fashion nowadays because of TikTok and Instagram. I'm glad that they're making an effort to preserve this as a theatrical experience movie. Speaking about Travis Scott specifically, this casting rocks. This is a modern take on the Odyssey, still set back in the past. But having these like pop culture icons interwoven into it, I think is so cool. I need to know the source of Travis Scott and Christopher Nolan's friendship, because Travis did an original song for Tenet 6 years ago. I believe Nolan wrote him a letter saying how much he loved the cinematography on a past music video Travis did.
Okay.
This is the most random pairing I've ever seen. And I need to know, like, are they actually boys? Does Christopher Nolan listen to Days Before Rodeo? Like, what is his playlist? I'm fascinated by everything.
Yeah, so go on.
I was going to say the monologue, too, he gives in the little TV spot. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so like you said, a song by Scott appeared on the soundtrack for Nolan's 2020 film Tenet, played during the movie's closing credits. Mm-hmm. Nolan has said that there's actually a bit of Scott's voice layered in to the score of Tenet throughout the film. He also spoke very highly about his experience working with Scott on Tenet, so it makes sense that he wanted to work with him again, although I did not think it would be in this fashion with Scott in this movie. But I want to move on to, so the film has faced some criticism for not being historically accurate, which is a bit weird because the Odyssey is a myth, not a historical event. Story's fictional, features mythical creatures, cyclopses, monsters, sorceresses. The story, though, is rooted in a real historical period and region. The world that Homer describes in the epic poem that the film is based on reflects Bronze Age Greece, and some criticize the film for not having historically accurate Bronze Age armor. Now, Scott's casting in the film is also kind of facing some criticism. It's less about historical accuracy, more about some viewers feeling his presence is anachronistic. And you know, like you said, Scott is a very modern figure. So I think some have said that someone so tied with contemporary culture can be immersion breaking, doesn't fit with the traditional tone of an ancient epic. Do you think this criticism is as silly as I do?
It's absolutely ridiculous. People
Yeah.
just love to complain. That's what it is. A lot of people are super hyped for this movie. People love to yuck each other's yums. I won't be that guy. Agamemnon looks cool. Is that armor accurate to ancient Greece? No. He looks like a fusion of Bane, Batman, and Darth Vader with a great mohawk. But it looks sick. And also, these are out of context shots. These are teaser trailers. Right. We know the story of the Odyssey because of Homer. We don't know what the story of the Odyssey is in the context of Nolan's premise of it. Of course, he's going to follow the general structure of what was written, but we don't know how he's going to get there. We don't know the order he's going to tell the story. Travis Scott's monologue in the trailer is also out of context. We don't have the clearest shot of how he looks. I doubt that he's going to have like his signature braids in the film itself. So yeah, people just love to complain. This is going to be the film of the century, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait. So the Odyssey, it has a history of being reinterpreted and adapted in different ways, and I think that Nolan, like you said, has every right to artistically interpret the story in the way that he wants to. As you said, he is one of our best filmmakers, so I agree that he should do whatever he wants, and we should all just say thank you, Christopher Nolan, for existing and making the films that you make, not to be too much of a fanboy. But let's now move on to the Fab Four. And no, I'm not talking about the Beatles tribute band from California. I'm talking about the actual Beatles and an upcoming series of films that will tell the stories of each member of the legendary band. The Beatles, a 4-film cinematic event, presents the band's story through 4 interconnected films, each focused on a different member. Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney, Harris Dickinson as John Lennon, Barry Keoghan as Ringo Starr, and Joseph Quinn as George Harrison. All 4 films will be released on April 7th, 2028. It's a long ways away. The uniqueness of this project extends to Sony's marketing strategy. The studio printed 4 different postcards, each featuring one of the film stars in character, dispersed them throughout the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts for students to find. The institution shared the news this week, posting a photo of the postcards on its official Instagram account. Sony Pictures then officially released the pictures today. So what do you make of these images and this unique strategy for the release of these films and the marketing around it?
It's funny. We were just talking about this in the Screen Rant office earlier this morning. I'm recycling the word. I'm buzzing about this film once again. Such a unique release strategy. Sam Mendes tackling all 4 films is awesome. Paul Mescal especially as Paul McCartney. It's like picture perfect.
Yeah, I saw someone tweeted the picture of Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney next to a picture of the real Paul McCartney and wrote, "Someone cooked here." I think based on the photos, he does look the most like the actual Beatle he is playing.
Clean shaven, darker hair. He's got that signature like cool face. If this is people can see that. It's going to be. I hate using the word interesting, but it's going to be a big pivotal moment when these films are released in 2028 because, like you said, all at the same time. Probably at least 90 minutes, multiply that by 4. At minimum, we're talking about 6 hours at the theater in one weekend. How many people are really going to do that? Worldwide, these things will be a success. They will amass over $1 billion worldwide collectively, but $250 million per film, a long shooting schedule, probably a very expensive marketing campaign. These films got to make a lot of money, but I want to kind of shy away from like the financial side of things because that should be secondary. We should want to embrace these things as artistic pictures. I'm a sucker for a music biopic. I love Bohemian Rhapsody. I love Elvis. I love A Complete Unknown. We're getting bangers lately, and I love this idea in my brain that they're all kind of in the same cinematic universe. Right. Unlikely that we see any crossovers from familiar faces because of different studios and all that. But this is going to be an event. I grew up on the Beatles, not literally because I'm younger, but my uncles were obsessed when they were active. The first introduction to music for me was a bunch of Beatles CDs burned onto my iPod. For a good 3 years, all I knew for music was just Beatles songs. So I was kind of like indoctrinated as a kid. And even just seeing these postcards, getting the press release in my inbox the other day, it feels like an event. It feels super nostalgic in the best kind of way.
I also saw box office columnist at Puck News, Scott Mendelson, responded to the pictures with a tweet that said, "But why don't the kids want to go to the movies anymore?" Seems to be insinuating that young people will not want to go see films about a band from the 60s. Liam, you're young. You're younger than me. I assume you have your ear to the street when it comes to what the kids are thinking. And do you think young people will see this film?
That's a really good question. I don't know if it'll succeed with that kind of like 18 to 24 demographic, but worldwide it's going to do crazy numbers. The Beatles are a culture in the United Kingdom. But the whole idea about like, why won't people go to the theaters anymore? It's a band from the 60s. I can't stand that argument because these are movies. These are supposed to educate people. It's not supposed to be like the most famous and modernly relevant subject matter. One of my favorite films of recent memory, Better Man, the Robbie Williams story. I didn't know a single Robbie Williams song going into that movie. They substituted him for a CGI monkey, and I bawled like a baby for the entire third act. I like to go to the theater to learn. I don't want to just see a retread of a band or an artist that I'm, a one-to-one knowledge of, and I will be there. Will it extend to younger people? That will depend on the marketing.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely going to be seeing all four. I don't know if I'll see all four on the day that they're all released, but it's going to be interesting to see it. Like, do I see the Paul McCartney one first, or like how people?
I wonder how the press screenings will work. Do you think they'd be like, all right, carve out 6 hours of your day. You're coming to the theater now to prep for interviews, or will they be like, all right, over the course of 4 weeks, we'll show you the 4 movies?
And I think at first there was talk about them not releasing them all on the same day and them maybe doing them 1 week at a time throughout the whole month, which maybe would have been a better way to do it. But regardless, they obviously chose to do it in the way they're doing it for some reason. Like I said, I will be there. But let's end with Olivia Wilde's latest film, The Invite, becoming the biggest sale at this year's Sundance Film Festival, landing at A24 after an intense bidding war with competitors, including Neon, Netflix, Warner Brothers' new indie label. The relationship comedy is a remake of the Spanish film Sentimental. Stars Wilde, Seth Rogen, Edward Norton, Penelope Cruz. The movie received some praise from critics following its premiere at the festival. This is Wilde's third film as a director, following Booksmart and Don't Worry, Darling. Liam, prior to the movie being bought by A24, film and TV journalist Scott Menzel tweeted, quote, "As much as I would like to say that this movie could succeed in theaters, that simply isn't true in today's world. Its best and most realistic chance of finding an audience is on streaming." According to Deadline, Wilde wanted a theatrical release for this film. Do you think a movie like, I know you said we don't like talking about numbers and box office, but do you think this movie could find success in theaters?
Yeah, well, the reason why we do talk numbers and box office is because it's what keeps the theatrical experience alive.
Yeah.
It can't be an industry that operates on a loss. I'm not too optimistic about really any story that doesn't involve big action, huge A-list movie stars, familiar property, in terms of being a huge success, but I think it'll make a decent chunk of change. Seth Rogen right now is having a moment.
Yeah.
He's become he still does his comedies. Like, The Studio is a comedy, but it's also like a really solid drama and kind of commentary on Hollywood as a whole.
Very cinematic.
Yeah, and so I love what he's doing. So him being attached to this film, that is like my movie star of like, oh, I'm going to take this seriously. Olivia Wilde as a director, I honestly have not seen Booksmart or Don't Worry, Darling. Both have passed me by, and now that I've put that out on the internet, I'll put them on my watch list.
Booksmart is good. I enjoyed Booksmart.
I heard mixed things about Don't Worry, Darling. But again, do I think it'll be a smash success? No, but I think all films should be given a chance at theaters, especially if they have streaming to fall back on. Because a lot of these films, they go to theaters, they play for like 2 or 3 weeks, they make a little bit of money, they give people who want to see them in that atmosphere the chance to see them, and then they go to streaming and they get sold to a streamer for like 50 to 75 million, allows it to make its budget back.
Yeah, so Naked Gun was a popular theatrical comedy from last year, made more than $100 million worldwide. But like you said, that's an action comedy, a genre comedy, so it may not be fully comparable to The Invite. There were some other comedies from last year that got good reviews from critics, like Friendship and Splitsville, that may be a bit more comparable. Those did not do as well at the box office. Friendship is also an A24 film. But we will see. Like, Judd Apatow has talked about how he thinks that comedy's not doing well in theaters recently, and that it's all cyclical. And he said something about, like, if The Hangover came out today, it would do just as well. I don't know. Obviously, the politically incorrect nature of The Hangover may work against it in today's climate, but we shall see. I hope it can do well. I'm excited for the film, like you said, for all the reasons you said.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because I remember doing research for an interview not too long ago, and for some reason, my research rabbit hole brought me to Paul Blart Mall Cop's box office. That film made
It did so well, right?
9 figures. I think
crazy.
over $200 million worldwide for like that film today would flash out within 2 weeks, but there was such an urgency for people to find entertainment back then because you didn't have the option of doom scroll. YouTube wasn't as popular. It was kind of more of just a website, not an app. Zookeeper was another one. That was another Kevin James movie that smashed at the box office. I think, to take it broadly and talk about where we are as like a society, just our attention spans are so short, and we're able to sap entertainment from so many different outlets that theaters are no longer the priority for escapism. They're just kind of auxiliary.
There's a lot of very funny videos on Instagram and TikTok that people can just watch and maybe meet their fill for what they need in terms of being laughing. But Liam, thank you. That's all the time we got. Thank you for joining us. We got to maybe have you back on some point again in the future. Like I said, really appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you, Joe. Thank you.
And so that'll do it for this section of the show. Coming up, senior host at Collider, Perri Nemiroff. She was at Sundance. I will be speaking to her about some of her favorite films from the festival. We will be right back. Welcome back. Let's now bring in senior host for the digital entertainment publication Collider, Perri Nemiroff. Perri, thank you for joining us again. Really appreciate you coming back on the show.
Appreciate you having me. It's a game-changing time. We have our Oscar nominees now, plus others.
Yes, I know. Yeah. So let's begin with the BAFTA Film Award nominations. They were announced on Tuesday after the Oscar nominations, like you said, were announced last week. I spoke about how I think we now have a real race between one battle after another and Sinners, which you kind of predicted. The last time you were on the show, you said you wait. Once Sinners get those nominations come out and it breaks the record, it's going to be a whole new ball game. And that's what happened. But anyway, the BAFTA nominations are now giving even more credence to there being a race. Those films both received the most nods. One Battle earned 14 nominations overall, just 2 shy of the all-time record. Sinners earned 13 nominations, which is the highest for a film by a Black director in BAFTA history. Hamnet and Marty Supreme both received 11 nominations. Hamnet also making history. It earned the most BAFTA nominations ever for a film directed by a woman. Perri, what were some of your takeaways from these nominations and what they could mean for the Oscars?
As far as the Best Picture race goes, I am staying the course. I think it is going to come down to One Battle After Another and Sinners. The fact that Sinners beat the nomination record at the Oscars, though, not by 1, but by 2, is starting to make me think that one might pull ahead. But to add a third film into the equation, and I think I've brought this up to you before, I know we're mainly focused on those films, but don't completely count out Hamnet yet. It's really scooping up a pretty significant amount of nominations across the board. And you never know if it's a situation where many people wind up splitting their votes between Sinners and One Battle, that could clear a path for Hamnet to sneak in that Best Picture category. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, and Hamnet just got some love from Terrence Malick.
That kind of stuff matters.
Yeah. Bring some more eyes to the film. The BAFTA Film Awards have had a history of facing backlash for a lack of diversity in its nominations, so it's nice to see that Sinners and Ryan Coogler and Hamnet and Chloe Zhao earned such major recognition this year. The BAFTAs take place on February 22nd. Final voting for the Oscars takes place between February 26th. Final voting for the Oscars on the winners takes place between February 26th and March 5th, so a few days after. So I assume the winners for the BAFTAs could have some influence on how the Academy votes for the Oscars. We now have a month left, a month and a half left until the Oscars.
Jeez.
So I'm very excited to see how this all plays out. So I want to go over quickly the Writers Guild Awards nominations. They were all also announced on Tuesday. Original screenplay nominees are Black Bag, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Marty Supreme, Sinners, and Weapons. Adapted screenplay nominees are Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Train Dreams. Blue Moon, Sentimental Value, and It Was Just an Accident, which were nominated for Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars, were all ineligible due to WGA rules, as were films like Sorry Baby and The Secret Agent. Perri, it seems like for the Oscars and for the WGA Awards, I assume One Battle After Another and Sinners are the frontrunners, significant favorites for the two screenplay categories. Is there anything that stood out to you about these WGA nominations that we should be taking away, or any chance that we could see an upset in any of these categories?
I'm not going to bet on an upset in these two categories. I do think this is a space where Sinners and One Battle will split the love evenly. One will take one category, the other will take the other. I mean, I guess it's just a striking thing that in the adapted category, all of the nominations between WGA and the Oscars matched. And when it comes to original, you know, the restrictions that Guild puts on movies always every year knocks particular screenplays out. But it is kind of exciting when, you know, those kinds of rules leave the door open for movies that maybe haven't gotten as much love as they deserve this season. The two in particular that I was really excited to see pop up in an original screenplay, probably you could bet, is Weapons. I'm a genre lover. I think that is a brilliant original idea. So I'm really happy to see Zach Kreger get nominated there. And then also, I'm very excited about Rose Byrne and her nomination for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. I think she is just like A+++ in that movie. But Mary Bronstein, the writer and director of If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, has like barely been in the spotlight. And that is a phenomenally written and directed feature film. That's the type of movie that really only works if you know precisely how to execute it and also support your lead actress. So I am happy to see her on the original screenplay list of the WGA nominations.
Yeah, I agree with you on both of those in terms of Weapons and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. I'm excited to see, especially Weapons. Yeah, like you said, you know, that I feel like that the original screenplay category needs to recognize films like that more, that are just like instantly recognizable, great original ideas. So yeah. But anyway, so we are going to end with the Sundance Film Festival. You were at the festival. It started on January 26th, Thursday of last week, runs until Sunday, February 1st, I think. This year's festival.
I believe Sunday is the first.
Right? Yeah.
I think Sunday is the first.
I'm all out of sorts.
That's how dates work.
Yeah. This year's festival is the last that will take place in Park City, Utah. Next year, it will move to Boulder, Colorado. But before we get to that, what were some of your favorite films that you saw at the festival?
Oh, I have a very clear picture of I'm going to call them my top three, but I'll just say that the top two are going to share the number one spot in my mind. And probably no surprise, both of them are horror films. And I thought both of them were really brilliant. And one of the coolest things about calling these two my favorite films of Sundance 2026 is that both were feature directorial debuts, which I think is exceptional and very exciting. First one is the new A24 movie. It's called Undertone. It comes out in March, and it is basically a single location found footage style horror movie, but instead of found footage, it's found audio. The movie is about the host of a popular paranormal podcast who winds up becoming haunted by these mysterious audio files she receives. And I think the movie is very effectively captured, but one of the coolest things about it is how like overwhelmingly effective the soundscape is, because the sound in the movie is so scary. It's one of those rare films where even if you look away from the screen or you cover your eyes, it's not going to help you. It's still going to be terrifying. So high priority movie right there. Very much recommend seeing that when it hits theaters. The other one that I loved is a movie called Leviticus. You know, Talk to Me. You know, the young actor who plays the brother in that movie, Joe Bird?
Yeah. Yes.
Great in Talk to Me. Phenomenal actor. I knew the second I saw him in that film. In Leviticus, though, he's the headliner. He is the focus of this entire movie. And man, this movie proves he is just the ultimate star. And he plays one of two teenage boys who have to escape this kind of violent entity, I think they describe it as, that takes the form of the person they desire most, which is each other. It's Joe Bird and Stacey Clausen plays the other boy in this relationship, and it's just such a smart story. The two of them are so good together. I don't usually like boiling movies down to straightforward comps like this, but I do think this is a really effective way to sell the movie because there's such popular a film and a show. But people out of Sundance kept calling it It Follows meets Heated Rivalry. So if that piques your interest whatsoever, grab onto it, hold tight, and make sure to see this movie because it's also one of the bigger sales of Sundance this year because Neon just scooped it up.
Wow, yeah. So the young kid, that's the young brother who like they're trying, the sister is trying to prevent him from getting involved in all the scariness, and then he does get involved, and it doesn't turn out well. Yeah,
it's one of the most horrific scenes in the entire movie.
Yeah, for sure. But what was it like to be at the last Sundance at Park City? I assume that like kind of dominated what was going on there, and it was like a big aspect of the festival this year.
Definitely heavily influenced the vibe. And just because I said 3 movies before and then only named 2, also keep an eye out for the movie Tuner, which Black Bear is releasing, and it comes out in May.
Leo
Highly
Woodall.
Recommend that one as well. Yes, and he is
I've heard it's great.
good. He's so good. He's so good. He plays a piano tuner with an auditory condition, and he comes to realize that that condition makes him especially adept at cracking safes. So well done. So speaking of a movie with a good soundscape too, that one has phenomenal sound design. Vibe in Park City though was sad. You know, I've been going to that festival for many, many years, and I love the feeling of that town in terms of, you know, most of it taking place in a really small area. It gives it a nice community feeling over the years. I've also, you know, I've created habits. There's particular places that I like to go to, I don't know, go and celebrate films at parties, to even have dinner with filmmakers and friends that I know and love from the event. So doing all of those things and knowing it was for the last time, you know, it hurts your heart a little, but all I keep thinking about is just how tightly I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this move is for the better, that this move makes the film festival more accessible and easy to attend for journalists, for filmmakers, for people who just want to experience wonderful independent filmmaking. So I'm sad to leave Park City, but I'm rooting for this to be a good boost for the festival.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if in the first year what it's like and how it changes over time, or if it doesn't change. And well, obviously it's going to change, but you know, I'm quite sad I was never able to make it there. But maybe one day it'll be back at Park City. You know, you
never know.
Yeah. So, but Perri, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. I always appreciate you coming on the show.
You know, I can go on and on and on. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And coming up, I went to the New York premiere for the film The Wrecking Crew. We'll have a look at the premiere's red carpet and my interviews with some of the cast. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's time for What to Watch, where we highlight movies hitting both theaters and streamers. The movie The Wrecking Crew is now available to stream on Amazon Prime Video. The film recently had its New York premiere at Regal Times Square. It stars Jason Momoa, Jacob Batalon, Morena Baccarin, and many more. They were at the premiere walking the red carpet, and I got the chance to speak with them. The Wrecking Crew is described as a buddy cop action comedy. It stars Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista as estranged half-brothers who reunite after their father's mysterious death. As they team up to search for the truth, they discover buried secrets that reveal a conspiracy and threaten to tear their family apart. The Wrecking Crew marks Momoa and Bautista's third project together. They both previously starred in the 2021 film Dune and the Apple TV Plus series C, in which they also played brothers.
Me and Dave, we just have it's just really wonderful when you meet people in the industry that you want to work with again. And we obviously see we were brothers that were enemies. And this one, you know, it's like healing all those wounds. But just being in a comedy, being in Hawaii, and, you know, we could play brothers. And obviously we've done it before. So it's just like let's work together again. Let's do something fun in Hawaii, and that was the plan.
The Wrecking Crew also stars Jacob Batalon and Morena Baccarin. Momoa, Batalon, and Baccarin are no strangers to big action films, as they have all previously starred in popular superhero franchises. But along with the explosions and the car chases, the actors say the film's director, Angel Manuel Soto, made sure that it had an equal focus on character and story.
We hired On, who was coming off of Blue Beetle, who did a fantastic job. Had a great time with him. Brought my whole stunt team that I've been working with. So, I mean, the stunts are at the highest level, from like Aquaman, everything that I've done in my career is with John Valera and his team.
Female is part of the action. She's literally doing the driving. And it's not just a bunch of bros punching each other. They're actually going through emotional connection.
He really directs from a very very consciously storytelling way, and the characters are a lot deeper than they appear, and it's really fun to really work from that angle.
He really has an amazing understanding of the emotional arc of the film. So not only can he do really intense action sequences, he keeps track of the emotional life so that it's not lost in the action.
Yes, it's an action comedy trying to solve a case, but in reality, it's a story about two brothers trying to heal from childhood trauma.
As Momoa mentioned, Soto previously directed the 2023 DC film Blue Beetle. Soto says while making The Wrecking Crew, he drew inspiration from classic buddy action movies of the 80s and 90s, while attempting to put a modern spin on the genre for today's audience.
I read the script, I was talking to the producers, I was like, man, this feels like I'm gonna be able to do a film that stands on the shoulders of the movies that raised me, like Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, 48 Hours, Running Scared. Like those body action movies from the 80s and 90s, they really formed me as I grew up. And being able to play in that arena with such a wonderful script and a wonderful cast is a dream come true. So one thing that we often did was, how can we then take the action and the stylization of it all and take it to new heights? And I tried to get a lot of inspiration from Korean cinema and, Old Boy and other Asian action films that I feel like they're pushing the envelope when it comes to what consumers like.
The Wrecking Crew is based on an idea that Momoa originally came up with. He pitched it to Batista, who then shared the idea on Twitter. Batista has said that the tweet got more response than anything he had ever tweeted, and eventually led to the film being sold just a few months later, and writer Jonathan Tropper becoming attached.
The cool thing is we got to produce it. I've known about this story my whole life because I kind of came up with it, and then obviously got one of the best writers that I love, Jonathan Tropper, took it to the next level.
When the whole concept of the movie came to be, which started with a tweet from Batista of, this buddy action comedy of two estranged brothers that are polar opposites. When I met them both in real life, Jason is wild, hyper, big, and Dave is more like a monk. But the reality is that the characters that Jonathan Tropper was able to craft highlighted their strengths of who they are in real life and created this amazing dynamic.
The Wrecking Crew features a scene where all four main cast members are together for an intense action sequence while driving in a minivan.
It was really fun. I have to say, that car scene took us about 5 days to shoot together, all in one car, the minivan. It was very fun.
They were great. I feel like they made it such a good time, and they were all willing to play along with my nonsense, and so it really pushed me to be even more crazy. How much more can you handle? And they gave it back. So it's pretty great.
Soto also spoke about what it meant to him to work with such a diverse cast and how he hopes audiences will experience the film.
Being able to work with a mostly brown cast that is not Latino felt still very homecoming to me. So I couldn't dream of a better cast. I hope people enjoy it and see it as the fun movie that it is.
Seeing Jason Momoa destroy that sign in person was pretty awesome. A little terrifying, but awesome. The Wrecking Crew is available to stream on Amazon Prime Video. That will do it for today's edition of That's a Wrap. But before we go, Hollywood is mourning an icon. Legendary comedian and actress Catherine O'Hara has died. Her rep saying she died at her home in Los Angeles this morning following a brief illness. O'Hara got her start in the Second City comedy troupe in Toronto in the 70s, where she met her lifelong collaborator Eugene Levy. Her decades-long career includes roles in films like Home Alone and Beetlejuice, as well as the hit TV series Schitt's Creek, for which she earned an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. Throughout her career, O'Hara won 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, a Golden Globe Award, and 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards. O'Hara is survived by her husband and her 2 adult sons. She was 71 years old.